Welcome back, listeners. What if the very system designed to uphold justice, is actually the biggest obstacle to achieving it, especially for women?
Hmm.
We're diving deep into Dahlia Lithwick's Lady Justice today.
Okay.
This book is more than just like a recounting of court cases.
Yeah.
It's a raw look at how women lawyers navigated the tumultuous legal landscape during the Trump era.
Yeah, what strikes me about Lithwick's work is how she exposes, the fragility of progress.
Right.
We often just assume, the law is a steady march forward, but Lady Justice shows us how quickly hard-won rights can be eroded.
Right from the start, Lithwick uses the 2016 Whole Woman's Health case to illustrate this point. Initially, it felt like a decisive victory for reproductive rights.
Yeah.
But as we now know, with Justice Ginsburg's passing and the subsequent shift in the Supreme Court, the landscape changed, dramatically.
Yeah.
It makes you question if the law in its current state is truly capable of serving women.
It's a question that resonates throughout the book, yeah. Lithwick examines it through the experiences of these remarkable women lawyers, each facing unique challenges within a system, seemingly stacked against them.
Let's start with Sally Yates.
Okay.
Her refusal to defend the Muslim travel ban as acting attorney general was a pivotal moment. What's fascinating is that she wasn't some radical activist,
Right.
but a career Justice Department lawyer with deep respect for the institution.
Her decision to defy the president wasn't taken lightly. She understood the gravity of the situation, the potential consequences for herself and the department. It speaks to a profound commitment to the rule of law, even when facing immense pressure from the highest office.
And the chaotic implementation of the ban itself adds another layer to this story.
Yeah.
No legal review, customs officials caught off guard, travelers stranded at airports. It was a mess.
Right.
It really underscores the dangers of unchecked executive power, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yates's story also raises important questions about the role of individual lawyers within the government. To what extent are they obligated to follow orders they believe are unlawful or unethical? Where do personal conscience and professional duty intersect?
It's a dilemma many officials likely faced during that time. Now, shifting gears to Becca Heller and her work with the International Refugee Assistance Project,
Okay.
IRP. She had this incredible foresight, sensing that Trump's campaign promise to ban Muslim travelers was, more than just rhetoric.
Her sense of urgency is remarkable. She immediately mobilized lawyers to be present at airports the moment the ban was implemented, working tirelessly to file habeas corpus petitions to protect those detained.
The scenes at airports were pure chaos. Travelers detained, families separated, protests erupting, and amidst all of that, these lawyers were frantically trying to provide legal aid and secure the release of those affected.
Heller's story speaks to the power of collective action and the importance of being prepared to challenge injustice swiftly and decisively. It also highlights a crucial question. Can the legal system truly keep pace with such rapid and sweeping policy changes?
Right. It's almost like the law was playing catch-up to a crisis unfolding in real time. And then there's Roberta Kaplan, a high-profile lawyer known for her victory in the landmark same-sex marriage case, United States v. Windsor. Yet, she felt compelled to take on a very different battle after the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally.
It's a fascinating example of how legal tools can be wielded to combat hate speech and protect vulnerable communities. Kaplan and her team utilized the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871, a law most people wouldn't associate with a modern-day white supremacist rally.
For those unfamiliar, this act was passed after the Civil War to protect newly freed slaves from violence and intimidation by the Klan.
Yep.
But Kaplan saw its potential to hold the Charlottesville organizers accountable for the violence that erupted during their rally.
It's a testament to her legal ingenuity and the adaptability of the law itself. They uncovered millions of messages, painstakingly exposing the planning and coordination behind the rally. They weren't just reacting to the events, they were strategically using the law to dismantle the network of hate fueling it.
It really makes you think about how legal precedent can be applied in unexpected ways to address contemporary issues. Now, Lithwick doesn't shy away from the dark side of the legal system itself. The chapter on Judge Alex Kaczynski, a prominent Ninth Circuit court judge accused of sexual misconduct by multiple former clerks, is particularly unsettling.
It's a stark reminder that even institutions entrusted with upholding justice are not immune to abuse of power. The lack of transparency, the inherent power imbalances, and the difficulty in reporting misconduct create a system where accountability is elusive.
And Lithwick courageously shares her own uncomfortable encounter with Kaczynski.
Yeah.
It's a brave act that highlights the importance of speaking truth to power, but it also reveals the culture of silence and complicity that often protects abusers, especially those in positions of authority.
It begs the question, how do we reform a system where reporting misconduct can feel like a career-ending move, especially for women? What mechanisms can be put in place to ensure transparency and accountability within the judiciary?
These are crucial questions, and ones that Lithwick forces us to confront. Now let's turn to Brigitte Amiri, an ACLU lawyer specializing in reproductive rights, and her battle on behalf of Jane Doe, a 17-year-old unaccompanied immigrant seeking an abortion while in federal custody.
Amiri's story reveals the lengths to which the Trump administration went to restrict access to abortion, even for the most vulnerable. The actions of Scott Lloyd, the Trump-appointed head of the Office of Refugee Resettlement, are particularly egregious. He actively tried to block Jane Doe's access to abortion, even attempting to force her to carry the pregnancy to term against her will.
It's hard to fathom such blatant disregard for a young woman's autonomy and well-being. The legal battle itself was a whirlwind. Emergency court hearings, last-minute scrambles to get Jane Doe to a clinic, and ultimately an unprecedented appeal to the Supreme Court.
It's a harrowing reminder of the barriers facing those seeking reproductive health care, especially young and marginalized women, and it speaks to the broader assault on reproductive rights during that time.
The Trump administration relentlessly chipped away at Roe v. Wade through legislation and policy changes, from restrictive abortion bans to targeted regulations of abortion providers. It was a systematic attack.
And Lithwick doesn't just present the dry legal arguments. She personalizes these stories, reminding us that these aren't abstract legal debates, but real-life consequences with lasting impact.
That personal connection is what resonated with me most about Amiri's story. She spoke about her own teenage years and how her rebellious spirit found an outlet in fighting for women's rights. It's clear this case wasn't just another assignment for her. It was deeply personal.
That personal investment is evident in so many of these women's stories. It fuels their commitment to justice and gives them the strength to keep fighting even when the odds are stacked against them. It's fascinating how many of these women, didn't initially set out to be like warriors for justice.
Yeah, you're right. It's almost as if the chaotic political climate of the Trump era thrust them into these battles.
Exactly. The constant assault on democratic norms and institutions forced many, particularly women, to step up and defend the values they held dear.
Their legal expertise almost became a weapon in this fight for democracy.
Precisely. It's not just about courtroom battles, but using legal knowledge to educate, organize, and advocate for change on a broader scale.
A great example of this is Nina Perales, who leads voting rights litigation at MELDEF, the Mexican-American Legal Defense and Educational Fund.
Perales has been at the forefront of challenging voter suppression tactics aimed at Latino communities.
Her work is so vital because these tactics are often subtle and insidious, making them difficult to detect and combat.
She's highlighted how redistricting can be used to dilute the voting power of minority groups, even after they overcome other barriers to voting.
It's like their voices are being silenced even after they've cast their ballots.
Precisely. And Perales has been instrumental in fighting against these efforts, taking cases all the way to the Supreme Court.
She was also deeply involved in challenging the Trump administration's attempt to add a citizenship question to the 2020 census.
That was a blatant attempt to intimidate immigrant communities and suppress their participation, which would have had lasting consequences for representation and funding.
It's shocking how far they were willing to go to manipulate the system for political gain.
Perales, along with a coalition of other groups, successfully fought back against this effort, exposing the administration's intentions and ultimately preventing the question from being included.
It's a testament to the power of legal action to hold those in power accountable.
And it underscores the importance of vigilance in protecting our democratic institutions from those who seek to, undermine them.
It's a constant battle requiring a deep understanding of the law and a willingness to fight for the most marginalized.
Perales embodies the spirit of fighting for justice, not just through courtroom victories, but through tireless advocacy and community engagement.
She's truly inspiring and a reminder that even in the darkest times, some work tirelessly to protect our rights and ensure a more equitable future.
Her story underscores the critical role lawyers play in safeguarding our democracy, especially in the face of growing threats.
It's a reminder that the law is not a, neutral force.
Right.
It can be a tool for oppression or a weapon for liberation.
Right.
It's up to us to decide how it's used.
Lithwick's book brilliantly showcases how these women lawyers are using the law to fight for a more just and equitable world, even when the odds seem stacked against them.
Their stories are both inspiring and sobering, reminding us of the challenges we face, but also the possibilities for change if we're willing to fight.
It's not just about lawyers, though. It's about all of us using our voices and actions to demand justice and hold those in power accountable.
Lady Justice is a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring belief in the power of the law to create a better world.
It's a must-read for anyone who cares about the future of our democracy and the role we all play in shaping it.
One thing that really struck me about this book is how personal these stories are.
You're right. It's not just about legal principles and precedents. It's about the human cost of injustice.
Lithwick beautifully weaves these personal narratives with the broader legal and political context.
It makes the book so much more engaging and impactful. You really feel the weight of these women's struggles and the significance of their victories.
For example, in the chapter on Brigitte Amiri, we not only learn about the legal fight to secure Jane Doe's access to abortion, but we also get a glimpse into Amiri's personal connection to reproductive rights.
Yes, she talks about how her teenage rebelliousness found an outlet in advocating for women's rights and how that passion has fueled her career.
It makes her fight for Jane Doe even more powerful, because you understand it's not just a case for her. It's a deeply personal mission.
That personal connection is evident in all of these women's stories. It's what drives their commitment to justice and fuels their resilience in the face of adversity.
It's a reminder that behind every legal battle, there are real people whose lives are being impacted, and that's what makes this work so important.
Absolutely. And I think it's one of the reasons why these women have been so successful. They bring their whole selves to their work, their passion, their empathy, their lived experiences.
It's a powerful combination that can't be replicated by simply mastering legal doctrines.
It's a reminder that the law is not just an intellectual exercise. It's a tool for social change, and it's most effective when wielded by those who are deeply invested in the outcome.
Lithwick's book really challenges the traditional image of the detached, objective lawyer.
Right. These women are anything but detached. They are deeply committed to their clients and to the causes they fight for.
And they understand that the law is not a neutral force. It can be used to perpetuate injustice or to dismantle it, and they've chosen to use it as a weapon for good.
Their stories are a testament to the power of that choice. They've made a real difference in the lives of countless people, and they've inspired a new generation of lawyers to fight for justice.
It's a legacy that will continue to shape the legal profession and our society for years to come.
It's a powerful reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles, individuals can make a difference.
These women lawyers have shown us that the fight for justice is worth fighting, and that even small victories can have a ripple effect, creating a more just and equitable world for all.
And it inspires us to believe that even in the darkest times, hope and the pursuit of justice can prevail.
Reading Lady Justice really drives home the point that the fight for gender equality is far from over.
It's an ongoing battle, being fought on multiple fronts, from the courtroom to the streets to the voting booth.
And what's striking is how, interconnected these battles are.
You're right. You can't separate the fight for reproductive rights from the fight for voting rights, or disentangle the fight against sexual harassment from the fight against racial injustice.
It's all part of the same struggle for a more just and equitable society.
That's why it's so crucial to have lawyers like those in Lithwick's book who are willing to tackle these systemic challenges.
They understand the law isn't just about individual cases. It's about shaping the very fabric of our society.
They're using their legal expertise to strive for a future where everyone, regardless of gender, race, or background, has the opportunity to thrive.
Pauli Murray's story truly exemplifies this interconnectedness. Lithwick highlights them throughout the book.
Yeah.
Murray, a Black, queer, and gender nonconforming individual, was a pioneer in the fight for both racial and gender equality.
Mm-hmm.
Their work laid the groundwork for so many of the legal victories that followed, including the landmark Brown v. Board of Education decision and the fight for women's rights under the Equal Protection Clause.
It's amazing how Murray's contributions have often been overlooked. Lithwick does a fantastic job of bringing their story to light and recognizing the profound impact on the legal landscape.
Yeah, it's a reminder that the fight for justice is often a long and winding road, and progress is built on the work of countless individuals who may not always get the recognition they deserve.
It's a testament to the power of intersectionality, recognizing that our identities and experiences are interconnected, and we must fight for justice on all fronts.
Another important theme that emerges from Lady Justice is the importance of, collective action.
Exactly. These women lawyers didn't achieve these victories alone. They worked in coalition with other lawyers, activists, and community organizers.
They understood that the law is most effective when combined with grassroots mobilization and public pressure.
It's about building movements, not just winning cases.
That's what makes the work of Stacey Abrams and her organization Fair Fight so inspiring.
Abrams has shown that you can use legal strategies to challenge voter suppression, but you also need to mobilize voters, educate them about their rights, and build a political infrastructure that supports their participation.
It's about empowering people to take ownership of their democracy.
Precisely. It's a reminder that the fight for justice isn't just a legal battle, it's a political battle. And it demands a multifaceted approach.
Lithwick's book does a great job of showcasing the diverse tactics these women lawyers are using to fight for change.
From litigation to legislation to public advocacy, they're using every tool at their disposal to challenge the status quo and create a more just and equitable world.
So what does all of this mean for us, the listeners? Why should we care about these stories?
Well, for one, these stories are incredibly inspiring. They show us that even when facing immense challenges, individuals can make a difference.
They remind us that the fight for justice is ongoing, and we all have a role to play in shaping a more equitable future.
But it's not just about inspiration. It's also about understanding how the law works and how it impacts our lives.
These stories provide a glimpse behind the curtain of the legal system, showing us how power operates and how legal strategies can be used to, challenge injustice.
They teach us valuable lessons about persistence, strategic thinking, and collaboration.
I also see it as a call to action. These women lawyers are leading the way, but they need our support.
We can all contribute to the fight for justice, whether it's by donating to organizations like the ACLU and MALDEF, volunteering our time, or simply speaking out against injustice.
We can learn from these women's stories and apply their strategies and tactics to the challenges we face in our own, communities.
Lady Justice is a powerful reminder that the fight for gender equality is a fight for all of us, and together we can create a more just and equitable world.
Lithwick leaves us with a final thought-provoking question. What will you do to ensure that the legal system works for everyone, not just the privileged few?
It's a question worth pondering, and one that I hope this deep dive has equipped you to answer.
If you are as moved by these stories as we were, we encourage you to pick up a copy of Lady Justice. And don't forget to subscribe for more explorations of captivating topics. Until next time, keep those minds curious.
Buy the book in the episode description.